Right this very second, trillions of tiny, highly organized teams are hard at work inside you. And they're not just random bunches of cells. They are tissues, the fundamental building blocks of pretty much every living thing. So today, we're going to zoom in and really understand how these incredible cellular teams build our world.
Have you ever stopped to think about it? How does life go from just a single cell to something as complex as a giant, towering tree? Or, well, you? The answer, in a word, is teamwork. Cellular teamwork. And that's exactly what we're going to break down.
So what even is a tissue? The easiest way to think about it is like a specialized crew on a massive construction site. It's a whole group of similar cells that have all teamed up to do one very specific job, whether that's making a muscle contract or helping a plant stem stand up nice and tall. It's all about working together.
And to see just how crucial tissues are, look at where they fit in the grand scheme of things. They are the absolute critical bridge between lonely single cells and complex organs, like your heart or a leaf on a tree. You just can't build that level of complexity without them. Put it this way, no tissues, no organs. Simple as that.
So here's our game plan. We'll kick things off with the big picture differences between plants and animals. And then we're going to dive deep into the specific playbook that each kingdom uses.
All right, let's jump right in. Now, even though both plants and animals are built from tissues, you'll see they follow two very, very different blueprints, each one perfectly shaped by their completely different ways of life.
And this chart really nails the two strategies. See, plants are stationary, right? They're stuck in one place. So they build for structure and support above all else. And get this, many of their most important supportive tissues are actually made of dead cells. But animals, we're built to move. We have to find food, escape danger, and react to the world. So our tissues are overwhelmingly alive and buzzing with activity.
Okay, so let's check out the plant playbook first. When you look at plant tissues, they can basically be sorted into two main categories. And it all comes down to one simple question. Are the cells still dividing, or have they grown up and settled into a permanent job?
This is the big split. On one side, you have meristematic tissue. This is the plant's growth crew. It's always busy dividing and churning out new cells. And on the other side, you have permanent tissue. These are the cells that have matured, stopped dividing, and become specialized workers. Think of them as the plant's plumbers, electricians, and structural engineers.
So where do you find this growth crew? Well, exactly where you'd expect, right at the growing points. You'll find meristematic tissue at the very tips of stems and roots, basically acting as the engine of the plant, constantly pushing it higher into the sky and deeper into the soil.
Okay, so what about all those specialized workers, the permanent tissues? Let's take a look at the critical jobs they do, and we'll focus specifically on how they support the plant and move all its resources around. This table here breaks down the three main types of simple, supportive tissue really well. Parenchyma is kind of the basic, all-purpose filler tissue. Then you've got collenchyma, which provides flexible strength, especially for young, growing stems. If you've ever eaten celery, those crunchy strings, that's collenchyma. And finally, sclerenchyma is the heavy-duty stuff. Its cell walls are incredibly thick and hardened with a substance called lignin, which creates the tough, rigid structure we know as wood.
Now for the plant's plumbing, its transport system. Xylem vessels are basically like one-way pipes that pull water and minerals up from the roots to the rest of the plant. Phloem, on the other hand, is a two-way street that transports the sugary food made in the leaves down to where it's needed. So you have two different pipes for two different jobs, making up one absolutely essential system.
All right, time to switch gears completely. We're leaving the plant world behind and diving headfirst into the animal playbook. The strategy here is totally different, but just as brilliant. And really, it all boils down to four master categories of tissue. And here they are, the big four. And to help you remember them, just think about their main jobs. Epithelial tissue covers. Connective tissue connects. Muscle tissue contracts. And nervous tissue communicates. Literally every single part of an animal's body is built from some combination of these four types.
So let's start with epithelial tissue, which comes in different shapes for different jobs. Squamous cells are flat, like little floor tiles. Because they're so thin, they create the perfect smooth lining for places where stuff needs to pass through quickly, like inside your blood vessels or the tiny air sacs in your lungs.
Next up, we have cuboidal cells. Their cube-like shape gives them a lot more internal volume, which is perfect for housing all the machinery needed to make and release substances. And that's exactly why you find them in places like your glands and kidney tubules.
And rounding out our epithelial tour, we have columnar cells.
These tall, pillar-shaped cells have a massive surface area, which makes them absolutely fantastic at absorption. So it's no surprise that they're the ones lining our intestines, where their main job is to soak up all the nutrients from our food.
Now let's get to the other three master tissues. And as we go through these, I want you to think about how they're working inside your own body right now to connect everything, to move, and to think.
Connective tissue is just mind-blowingly diverse. Its main job is to bind and support, but it does this in some radically different ways. It can be a solid, rigid structure like bone, a flexible cushion like cartilage, or even a fluid like blood, which connects your entire body by transporting everything it needs to survive.
Muscle tissue, well, it's all about movement. Striated muscles are the ones you control, like when you decide to lift your arm. Unstriated or smooth muscles work automatically in the background, handling things like digestion. And then you have cardiac muscle, that special, incredibly tireless tissue found only in the heart, beating on its own every second of your life.
And finally, nervous tissue, which is made up of these amazing cells called neurons. Just think of these as the body's high-speed internet wiring. They transmit electrical signals across huge distances in fractions of a second, creating this incredible information network that controls everything from your deepest thoughts to your quickest reflexes.
So let's do a quick recap of the plant playbook. It all starts with that dividing meristematic tissue at the growing tips, which then matures into all those specialized permanent tissues that provide the support and transport all the resources the plant needs. And for the animal playbook, it really all comes down to those four master types, right? You've got epithelial tissue to cover, connective tissue to support, muscle to create movement, and nervous tissue to communicate. Every single part of you is a beautiful combination of these fundamental teams.
So, from the simple, rigid structure of a tree to the impossibly intricate network of a brain, all of life is built by these cellular teams following a specific blueprint. And as we get better and better at reading those blueprints, you just have to wonder, what's the next great leap in biological design going to be? Thanks for tuning in.